Picture a football club that completely dwarfs Ajax, rakes in more cash than Roma. Actually, it makes more money than almost any club you've ever cheered for in your life. It's got over 150 million players. But here's the kicker. It has never played a single real-world match. Oh, and those superstar real-world footballers whose faces are plastered everywhere to sell it, most of them get paid practically nothing.
Okay, let's get right into this explainer, because this massive, so-called club isn't packing out a physical stadium somewhere in Europe. It's a video game. And the engine running this game is built on one of the absolute most brilliant, wildly profitable, and fiercely controversial business models in all of modern entertainment.
To really grasp the scale we're talking about, let's look at the numbers. Electronic Arts, the powerhouse company behind this game, just reported a massive $7.5 billion in revenue for their 2025 financial year. Now, that's across their entire portfolio, right? Things like Battlefield and The Sims. But their football franchise? That is the absolute crown jewel pulling the entire wagon. And this sets up the wild paradox we're unpacking today. You've got a video game consistently out-earning nearly every single physical club it features, which leaves us staring at a massive question. How exactly does a $60 game rake in more cash than the actual real-world clubs inside it? I mean, they can't just be relying on people buying the game once a year, right? Well, the secret sauce is a mode called Ultimate Team. And the core mechanic here is honestly kind of genius. You see, you don't just go in and buy the exact superstar you want for your fantasy squad. No, you buy a chance at that player. You're dropping real-world money to open digital packs for a tiny, fractional chance to pull a top-tier card. The psychology behind this is absolutely fascinating. It relies on a concept called a variable reward. See, your brain actually doesn't release the biggest hit of dopamine when you finally get the prize. It releases it during the anticipation of the prize. While that digital pack is spinning on your screen, literally anything is possible. It is the exact same psychological hook as sitting at a casino slot machine, and it drives a continuous, ruthless loop of spending. Now, to be fair, EA will absolutely defend this system by pointing out that the vast majority of packs are earned for free just by grinding the game. But comparing earned packs to paid packs kind of misses the reality of where the actual money comes from. The revenue is heavily concentrated on what the gaming industry calls whales. These are a tiny fraction of hyper-engaged players who drop hundreds or even thousands of dollars, endlessly chasing the rarest, most powerful cards. So, if you want to put it simply, that $60 game you bought, that's just the entry fee. The game is the door, and Ultimate Team is the casino floor waiting behind it. But here's the catch. To build a highly lucrative casino floor, you need the recognizable faces of the world's biggest football stars. And getting those faces requires massive licensing deals that actually just blew up in spectacular fashion. Let's look at what went down. For 30 straight years, EA's game was known by one word: FIFA. And for the incredible privilege of slapping that specific word on the box, EA was writing FIFA a check for a staggering $150 million every single year. And that was just for the branding and the World Cup rights. But in 2022, that iconic marriage completely collapsed. Word got out that FIFA wanted to double their fee, pushing it toward $1 billion every 4-year cycle. So, EA CEO Andrew Wilson took a brutal, calculating look at what they were actually paying for. His assessment? He reportedly said that in a non-World Cup year, what they got from FIFA was basically, and I quote, the 4 letters on the front of the box. That split totally exposed where the real leverage is in football gaming. FIFA really only provided the brand name. EA, on the other hand, already held all the crucial, separate rights to the things players actually care about. The Premier Leagues, the iconic clubs, and the Players' Union, FIFPro. EA realized they owned the actual game. FIFA just had a name. So EA boldly ditched the FIFA name entirely, rebranded to EA Sports FC, and literally did not miss a beat. They hit roughly $7.5 billion in 2025, and their target for 2026 is pushing right toward $8 billion. Dropping the biggest brand in global sports didn't dent their money printer for a second. But this plants a really uncomfortable question. If EA is making billions off the faces of real players, how much of that cash actually makes it into the players' pockets? Well, here's a reality check that shatters the illusion. When you see your favorite superstar striker in the game, EA didn't just hand that specific guy a check. EA usually pays the league, not the player. They buy these licensing rights in massive bulk deals. So one signature from a league or from the FIFPro union can cover thousands of individual athletes all at once. And as you might guess, this bulk licensing model has caused some serious real-world friction. Remember a few years back when global superstars like Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Gareth Bale started publicly asking questions? They were literally on social media asking, "What is FIFA Pro?" They were waking up to the fact that their digital faces were powering a multi-billion-dollar machine, and they had never given direct individual consent for it. To give you some hard perspective on what a digital face is actually worth in this ecosystem, look at EA's American College Football game. When those players were finally allowed to get paid for their name, image, and likeness, their initial offer was just $600 and a free copy of the game. Now, after the game became a massive commercial hit, that payout got bumped to $1,500 for the 2026 edition. So look at the stark contrast we've got here. Billions of dollars flowing in, a few $100s flowing out per face. The faces absolutely sell the game, but they rarely share in the true wealth. And for years, critics have been shouting that this massive wealth extraction model shouldn't just be criticized for being unfair, it shouldn't even be legal, which brings us straight into a massive cross-border Supreme Court showdown. The central legal threat hanging over EA's entire Ultimate Team empire boils down to this exact question. Is paying real money for a random digital pack gambling? Because if this game mode really does function like an unregulated slot machine, it should absolutely require a strict gambling license, and it could potentially be banned entirely for the millions of minors playing it. These courtroom battles have been rapidly escalating all across Europe over the last few years. Back in 2018, Belgium took a hardline stance and basically banned loot boxes completely. Then in 2022, a massive fine in the Netherlands was fought and eventually overturned. By 2023, you have lower courts in Austria ordering EA to refund thousands of euros to players, ruling that the packs were straight up illegal gambling. But throughout all this legal chaos, EA's defense has been incredibly consistent. Their core argument? It's a game of skill, not chance. They argue that you legally cannot look at an Ultimate Team pack in pure isolation. It's just one piece of a broader, holistic video game where their actual stick skills on the virtual pitch determine your success. And that brings us to a pivotal, completely up-to-date twist that a lot of people missed. Just recently, in December 2025, Austria's Supreme Court officially settled their end of the debate. Their verdict? Ultimate Team packs are not gambling. They completely backed EA's holistic skill game defense. That is a massive, sweeping victory for the company's most profitable business model. But a legal victory definitely does not mean the issue is settled. The ethics fight? That is really just getting started. Lawmakers all across Europe are still circling, deeply concerned about what this does to young players psychologically. But here's the crazy part. While regulators are still busy arguing over the present, EA is actively building an AI-fueled future that could make this entire ethical debate look totally quaint. EA's stated goal for the future is honestly slightly dystopian, but absolutely fascinating. They want to be the world's biggest football club that doesn't actually exist. They are trying to transition away from just being an annual game release. They want to be a forever club where players live inside their digital ecosystem all year round. And artificial intelligence is the engine powering this vision. We're talking about lifelike reinforcement learning that makes the virtual players react exactly like real humans. We're talking about totally personalized, on-the-fly content generated specifically for you. It's an environment engineered to never let you leave. AI sharpens that psychological hook we talked about earlier, making the urge to open just one more pack intensely personal and incredibly hard to switch off. So let's summarize the grand illusion versus the stark reality here. The most profitable football club in the entire world is a video game. It is a multi-billion-dollar empire with zero stadium costs and zero real-world wages. It's powered by highly effective variable rewards, built on the underpaid faces of real athletes, and engineered for absolute maximum retention through advanced AI. Which leaves me with a final, provocative question for you to chew on. Is Ultimate Team just incredibly clever, masterful game design, or is it simply gambling that just happened to win a Supreme Court case? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you want the deep dive explainer on how the real physical clubs actually make their money, make sure to hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.